welcome y'all to the family podcast Guest Talk, y'all. Y'all have tuned into something amazing. Y'all don't even know God led y'all to this podcast, y'all. So this is the Guest Talk podcast. This is our first. What would you say? This is our
Our
first.
first episode.
Our first episode.
Yes.
So listen, and y'all don't want to miss the rest episodes that are coming. So in this first episode, in the next few episodes that's going to be coming, as well as this one, we're going to be pretty much introducing our family members. Me
Yeah.
for first, because I'm Mom Dukes. Okay, I heard the applause, Mom Dukes. So, and we're going to talk about what it was. We're just going to talk about family stuff
Yeah.
and letting y'all just kind of bring y'all into our family a little bit, into our life, into some personal things, some emotional things, and we're just going to be sharing our life with you. So I hope y'all, it'll bless you. The purpose of it, of this podcast, is to be a blessing, to bring healing, to bring deliverance, to bring breakthrough in the lives of others, into relationships, business, ministry. I don't know. We want to help you to live a healthy life, because we definitely are really big on wellness and eating healthy. Our family is really big on that, but we want to build a stronger community, a stronger family, in everything we do. So this is what basically podcast is all about.
Yeah. We'll be touching on everything.
Yeah. So we're
Yeah.
gonna be talking about everything. So we just want to welcome y'all again. Welcome, yay! Y'all did an amazing thing. So welcome to the Guest Talk podcast. So my daughter Nicole here is actually the host, and she's gonna be asking me a bunch of
I don't
questions.
like hosting. I don't like being on camera. I don't like
She
being in
doesn't like.
front.
She's uncomfortable, right? That's why I'm doing the
setup.
talking.
I am the setup, okay?
She's
I
the
put
behind
everything
the scene
together.
girl.
I'm doing your audio and visual, okay? Not
Yeah, this not her.
hosting.
Yeah,
So
this not her. And but well, she wants to ask me a few questions.
yeah, we're gonna for our first episode, we'll be interviewing you.
Yes.
Just getting to know you more, I guess, and
Yeah.
just what was
Yeah.
it like being a single mom raising 9 kids? You don't touch on that first. We'll start off with just like where you from and your childhood. What was it like growing up?
Well, I want to comment on one comment she said. She said, "Getting to know me. To getting to know me, to really know me means you gotta stay close, because I'm always growing. I'm always changing. So the person you might have met last year is not the same person you meeting today, because I'm always becoming a better me in every area of my life. So to get to know me, I don't even fully know me. I'm learning me as I go along, as we all are. So what it was like growing up in my family. My family is a family. It's 11 of us, y'all. It's 11 of us. My older brother passed away several years ago. But growing up in a big family, I don't know. I loved it. I was amongst the. Nicole is the third to the youngest. So was I. She's the third to the youngest of 9. I was the third to the youngest of 11. Isn't that amazing, right? And growing up in a big family, I don't know. I loved it. Me and my baby sister, my younger sister, and my younger brother, we used to do a lot of crazy stuff together. A lot of stuff crazy together. So I
Where you
never.
from?
Huh?
Where did you grow up at?
I grew up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Philadelphia all day, right here.
Yeah, West
West
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, and I was born and raised in West Philadelphia.
Did you spend your
So-
time on the playground most of your
No,
days?
didn't spend my time on the playground. No, I didn't do that. Okay, Will Smith. Okay, but anywho, it was. I don't know. It was. I being a part of the younger. I think that you see the world differently when the older ones see more than the younger ones do. So the younger ones seems to see things a little different. Their view of a large family is different, and so it was fun growing up in a big family.
But did you grow up in like a Christian household? Like how was it like growing up? Was
in
it
my household, I won't say that my household was non-Christian, but we was one of them kind of people that you went to church on Sunday, but you can live any kind of way from Monday to Saturday. Sunday we couldn't play cards, we couldn't play certain music. Definitely we couldn't play cards. That was of the devil. Playing cards was the devil in my house. Okay, so but my mom sent us to Sunday school.
Yeah.
We went to Sunday school and stuff like that. So we knew about God, but we didn't actually. There was no teaching growing up to have an intimate relationship with God. No, we didn't have that. No.
Okay. So,
Now I'm only speaking for the. Sorry, I'm only speaking for the younger ones.
I
But
mean,
I
of
don't
course,
know
you
that
don't
the
know because
older ones,
you're not
they might
them.
say, it might be a little different for them. But from my perspective and my view, I mean, we always see my mom. Sometimes she would start shouting, and when she lock her door and tell you she going into sackcloth and ashes. That was her going down in the prayer, and she gonna lay before God, and she ain't moving until God answer her. That was sackcloth and ashes. And then when she come out, she get to shouting and go. She would shout from the basement back upstairs. It was something. Yeah, growing up in my house. Yeah, sometimes we seen that. Yeah.
Okay. So how was it like with like dating, like your dating life growing up, and like how did you get saved, like lead into that?
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, my dating life growing up, I don't know. I don't know. You got to ask some questions about. Mm,
What was it like? Just,
I don't know what you mean, like my
like
dating.
what is things that went on? Like what are like some like things that really stood out to you that you feel like really shaped your life? Like things that really shaped you as you grew up, like what
Well,
relationships you felt like really shaped you?
oh my God. Well, it's only really like before I met y'all dad. The only really two relationships in my life that really, well, I would say three that really shaped my life. I had many boyfriends, but never, they were friends that were boys. I had many friends that were boys, but I didn't have, I dated, you know, there were certain boys that I actually was in relationships with. But, and it was when I was 14. I was 14 years old. My mother told me that that she's no longer going to take care of me anymore. I don't want to really go in detail because a lot of this stuff is going to be in one of my books that I'm going to be sharing. But one of the things that she told me that, Marty, you're going to have to go get a boyfriend, and you're going to have to go, find some man that's going to take care of you now, because all I'm going to do is make sure you have a roof over your head and food, food so I can feed you. She said, but any other things, your clothes, your shoes, you're going to have to go find some man to take care of you. That's what my mother told me at the age of 14 years old. So this 14-year-old girl, I'm still a virgin. I'm freaking out. I am feeling like I was just losing it, and not knowing what I'm gonna do. Like my mom telling me I gotta go get some man to take care of me now. She said, "Good, you gotta go find a man with a job that can take care of you, because I'm not buying your clothes no more." And I'm like, "What?" I wasn't understanding that, y'all. I was like, "What?" And so I'm going through. I'm depressed. I'm sad. I don't know how. I'm just distraught, y'all. I'm just done. But there was this guy that when every time I would walk to my sister's house, my sister lived 10 blocks from my mother in West Philadelphia. Glory, I'm feeling God, y'all. Ooh, I'm feeling God right now. Ooh, Jesus. Ooh, Jesus. Y'all
This
about to hear
we're
me.
used to this.
Y'all about to
It
hear.
happens a lot.
Y'all, what?
Mommy's gonna feel something and she's gonna speak in tongues. So
Y'all
we
gonna
might
hear,
have a
I'm
lot of
telling y'all, I was
pauses
trying to
and
hold it
stops,
back, but I
okay?
can't hold it
It's
back on
okay.
your
I'm not gonna cut it out. Thank you, Jesus.
Hallelujah.
Glory be
I'm
to your
feeling the
name, God.
presence of God.
Hallelujah.
And because you know what I'm feeling, because God says I'm all over this podcast. This is all him. Because this right here, what I'm about to tell y'all is gonna heal some people's lives. It's gonna bring deliverance. And see, you would probably say, well, what are your feelings towards your mother because of that? I never stopped loving my mother. I didn't look at my mom like she was some horrible mother. I always chose to dwell on the good and not the bad. The good things that my mama did. You understand? So, but let me finish the story real quick. Let me answer that question. So this young man, I used to see him all the time, and he would always try to hit on me, and I would be like, you know, I would always avoid him and be like, he'd be like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, I don't know who he talking to, and he, because he wasn't not the type of guy that I normally dated. I normally dated guys that were a certain height and a certain complexion of men. That was not that was my preference, but that seems like that was when I started dating, these kind of guys were the ones that were
Attracted to you.
attracted. The
The little,
lighter men were attracted to me because of me being darker. They liked the darker skin. So, and he was more on the darker side. And I, not that I was thinking that he was a handsome man, but he just, the guys I dated, well, guys that were my friends. Even at the age of 14, I wasn't really dating. He was actually my first real date, really a boyfriend that, he was at the age of 14. But the guys that, even from younger, they were always, even younger than 14, the guys that were more so lighter skinned men were the ones that were always coming. Not the darker skinned men, they just didn't talk to me like
right.
that.
So
But anywho, let me. Yeah, her thing is trying to keep me on because she know I can go off somewhere else anyway. Y'all listen. So when this guy, he's sitting up here, he's sitting up here, and he's trying to talk to me, and I avoided him. But this particular day, I tell you, this was nobody but God. This particular day, I walk into my sister's house and I am just done. I feel so lost. I feel lost, and all I was thinking in my mind, I'm walking down the street, I'm gonna have to wind up talking to some nasty old man, and yeah, that's what I mean. It was the worst. I had
I'll
drawn this.
find a sugar daddy real
Yeah.
fast.
No, he wasn't gonna be no sugar daddy. He was gonna be a nasty daddy. Cause I'm serious, y'all. Because in my mind, I was thinking, I'm 14 years old. I'm gonna have to find some man, some nasty old man that's gonna take my virginity from me, and I'm gonna have to. This is the thoughts that I'm gonna have to have sex with him just to get money from him to take care of me. That was my thinking, and
Yeah.
I was in the worstest state of mind ever. I felt so lost. I felt alone. I felt like, oh my God, like my mom just literally just snatched the breath out of me. And he wound up talking to me again. This time he was trying to talk to me. I tried to avoid him, but he kept pressing. And he said, "Excuse me, where you walking to?" I said, "I'm walking to my sister's house." He said, "Do you mind if I walk with you?" And because I was not kind of sad. I was very sad. I said, "Okay, you can walk with me." And we started walking and talking. And from that day forward, he became my friend. He became my provider. At the age of 14, this man, I get emotional when I think about him. I don't want to give his name out though, but he pretty much became my provider. And no, he didn't ask me for no sex. We never had sex, never. From the age of 14 to, he was in and out of my life from the age of 14 to the age of 21. He was in and out of my life. And he paid for all my school clothes. He paid for all my school books. I'm telling you, y'all, he would take me shopping. He would say, "Okay, Marty, we got to go shopping so we can buy you clothes for school." He would take me to, I don't know if a lot of y'all from Philadelphia, y'all know 69th Street. You remember Learners? We used to go to
69th
Learners.
Street, where everybody went shopping at.
Yeah, he used to take me to 69th Street all the time, and that's where he would take me shopping at 69th Street. Little Gimbals, if y'all remember Gimbals, he used to take me shopping there, and he would buy me clothes for school, and he dressed me very nicely. He had very good taste too, and so that's what growing up and dating was like. Well, and the second gentleman in my life was a gentleman I met when I think I want to say I was 16. Kevin, like I told you, oh my God, I told his name.
It's
But
okay.
anywho,
I don't know who you're talking about.
he was in and out of my life. So at the age of 16, I wound up meeting one gentleman. We dated for like a month, and he spoke into my life, and he pretty much said, "There's something special about you." He told me one day. He said, "There's something special about you." He said, "I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what it is." And when he said it, he made sure he made complete eye contact with me. And then he kissed me, and from that day forward, those words stuck with me. And he broke up with me, though, later, but he shared why. He said, "I broke up because the girl that I was dating before I met you, she just came to me and told me she was pregnant. And his brothers forced him to be with her and be a father. Said, you slept with her, then you're going to be with her and you're going to be a father," which I respect that. And I respect the fact that he was not happy about the fact that he had to break up with me, but his brothers encouraged me. He was the youngest of like five older brothers, and they pretty much kind of told him, "You're going to do the right thing," and he was not happy about it. He wasn't really happy to be that he gotten this girl pregnant, but whatever. And then the third person in my life was just before I met my husband. He I planned all my not he has. He was the one who I planned all my life with. I was planning my life to have children with this man. We was going to build a life together. And after a year of being in a relationship, we broke up. And then I met your dad. Yep.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So you meet Dad, and then you get saved. How's that? How
Well,
did you get saved?
the way I got saved is that Daryl was your father was listed in the military. He was in Hawaii, and we weren't together anymore. We was not together. We were dating other people by this time, but we already had 3 children. We had 3 children together, but he was dating some girl in Hawaii. And he called me when he got saved. He called me and he said, "Listen, I want my children to be raised by a saved mother." I became offended. "What do you mean? I know more about God than you do. What you mean I need to be saved? What you know? What you don't even know God." And I became very offended. But then I don't know. No one never told me. I never heard this. Never read this in scripture. Nothing like that. But I felt in my heart that if me and him was to be together, I was going to have to be saved. And the reason why I was thinking about us being together, even though he was with someone else, is because I was like, I'm raising these 3 children by myself. Now, financially, he provided. Like, he was a great provider. He made sure that he not only took care of the kids, he took care of me. Even though I was dating some other guy, he didn't say, "Well, oh, she got that guy to take care of her. I'm just going to take care of my 3 children." No, he took care of me, even though I was dating a whole nother guy, and taking care of his 3 children. So he made sure he sent me money all the time. He would send me his whole paycheck when he was in the military. So but I needed him physically present to help me raise 3 children. It was very hard raising 3 children by myself, and I used to pray and cry out to God, and that I wish he was here, and he began to start calling me and really ministering to me about God. So I just said, you know what, I need to be saved if we're going to be together, and the Lord began to start dealing with me. God began all of a sudden out the blue. I used to love Power 99, y'all. If y'all from Philly, old school.
Power 99 still around.
Power 99. No, y'all know nothing about Power 99 in our day, Power 99 was the stuff, especially on Sunday night. What's they call what they call Night Storm? I can't even remember. That's how long ago anyways, when they would play the smooth music on Sunday evenings, oh my God, it was the best. The rain sounds all in the background. That was the best, y'all. And I used to love to listen to that. And I used to love to listen to Power 99. And one day, it was a Saturday, and I said, all of a sudden, I just had this feeling in my heart like I had no desire to listen to any worldly music. And I said, well, let me change the radio station. Oh, I'm feeling God again, y'all. My God. I said, let me change the radio station. I had to change the frequency of my life. Okay, I had to change the frequency and change the rhythm of my life. When I changed the station, I was changing the frequency of my life, not even knowing that I was changing things in my life. And I began to change the channel, and I heard this preacher preaching. And it was like 11 something at night. And I heard the preacher preaching, and I listened to him. And when I listened to him, I said, I'm going to his church, and I'm going to go get saved. So at the end, I'm feeling God, y'all. I'm feeling God. At the end of God, I just feel God going. And so I'm like, and he gets all up in here and everything, right? Anywho, I love it when he do it, right? So anywho, I said, I'm going to this church to get saved. I waited to the end of the program. They mentioned what church that it was from, who the pastor and everything. So I called the number that they gave me the next morning. One of the sisters answered, and she said, well, we would love to have you. And I told her I was coming to church, and I went to church. And y'all, I'm going to tell you what was the most beautiful. I'm going to tell y'all, this was the most beautiful thing. Not only was God using me to change the frequency of my whole life, but of my dad's. I don't know if my dad ever been to church. I don't know. But that morning, I'm getting ready for church, and I'm pressing my baby clothes, and I'm getting their clothes ready. I'm in my mom's room, iron on the iron board. My dad comes out the room, and my dad says, "Marty, where you going?" I said, "Daddy, I'm going to church." He said, "You going to church?" He said, "Well, you know what? I'm going with you." I said, "All right, Daddy." When my daddy dressed, y'all, I had a fine looking daddy.
That's kind of weird.
No,
But he was
what you
handsome.
mean?
He was a
My
handsome
daddy
man.
was a fine man. I had a fine looking daddy. Okay, my daddy was good looking. And when my daddy get dressed, listen, the women just would drop, okay? The women pass out when they see my daddy. That's how fine my daddy was. And so my daddy was like, "I'm going to church with you." My dad was sharp, boy. Had his broom, his suited, he was clean. You hear me? My daddy had slick, because my dad was Indian, had Indian in him. So my dad had slick, black, shiny, wavy hair. His hair was slick. My daddy was sharp. And that wasn't no perm, y'all. That was his hair. So, anyways, my dad, we went to church. Don't ask me what the pastor preached. I do not know what the pastor preached. I don't know.
I don't think we expect you to know like
No,
30,
because
40
I
years
didn't listen
later,
to
30 years
nothing.
later.
I didn't listen to nothing he said. I sat on the edge of that chair, literally waiting for the altar call. Literally. Because I came with the intention to get saved.
Yeah.
And when he called the altar call, I immediately got saved. My daddy came up with me. My daddy got saved with me. That was the most beautiful time, most beautiful thing ever. So I know that when I get to heaven, I know I'm gonna see my daddy, because I know my daddy's in heaven. So that's basically how I got saved. And Daddy, your father was the one that introduced me to the Lord. Yeah.
Okay, so you're saved. You eventually get back with dad and y'all get married and
Oh, that's a whole nother story. But we gonna say that for the book.
yeah, so y'all
We gonna say
married.
y'all got. I'm telling you, wait a minute, Nicole. Y'all gotta wait for the book, cause when I tell y'all the story, what happened with all that, y'all gonna be tripping. Anyways, go ahead.
Okay. So yes, okay. You get saved, y'all married now. Um what's next? You're pregnant with DJ. You're leaving Hawaii because you was living in Hawaii for a few years.
Well, before
Well, I don't know
I
how
got
long you was in
pregnant with
Hawaii.
DJ when I moved to Hawaii. Yeah, I got pregnant in Hawaii with DJ. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we lived he been living in Hawaii for 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
but I lived there. Out of his 4 years, I lived there a year and a half.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then now y'all leaving Hawaii.
Yeah.
And what's your living situation now when that you're leaving Hawaii? Like what's
Well,
going
Daddy
on?
was still in the military,
Mm-hmm.
and so he was being he had orders to go to Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we was being stationed in Maryland.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this is the time we kind of was back and forth between Maryland and Philly because y'all spent some time in Maryland, then y'all went back to Philly.
We actually, when we flew in, we flew directly into Philadelphia because we had to wait for our housing to come. You know, they were preparing housing for us. So we stayed with Mom I came home pregnant with DJ, and I had DJ while I was living with Mom. We lived with my mom for about maybe, I want to say 60 days. Maybe, what?
No, and she's trying to tell me something.
Okay, maybe 60 days. The camera woman is trying to tell us something. Y'all see, y'all, I'm gonna have to work on that, y'all. So maybe we stayed at my mom's for maybe 60 days. For about 60 days, but Daryl was constantly going back and forth because he had to work. So he had to deal with his duty station and whatever. So so I stayed and had the baby, and my mom took really good care of me. My baby sister, Boo, and my brother Charles, they really took really good care of me after I had the baby, because after I had DJ, they were saying that my blood pressure was up a little bit and that I had to stay calm and eat a certain way. So my baby sister and my older brother Charles, they took really good care of me. Cook for me, everything. And then we moved from there once the housing came available,
Yeah.
and we moved to Aberdeen, to
Right.
temporary quarters in Aberdeen.
So what I'm trying to get you to touch on is how y'all were, because there was a period of time when you guys were homeless.
Yeah, there was a time, but this was after he got out the military.
Right. So he was
So,
out of the military.
yeah.
Y'all was moving back and forth because I remember Who was born in Maryland? David was born in Maryland.
David was.
But I was born in Philly.
You was
and
born
me and
in.
Dave was only a year and a half apart,
Well, I
so
was
there was
pregnant
a lot of back and forth.
when we became homeless. Just before I got pregnant with you. Because I got pregnant with you in the shelter. The shelter is a motel, so we lived in a motel, and that's what they do in Maryland. They put you in like a motel as a
We're
shelter.
used to. I don't know if they still do it.
Yeah, I don't know if they do it now, but they did then, and we were put in a shelter, and in a motel, and that's where I got pregnant with you at, and then we went to Philly, and that's where you were born at my mother's house.
Right. So okay. So before I was born, you guys were homeless for a period of time.
Yeah, before you was born.
So what was that like living? Like what were y'all doing? What was going on?
You know, the worst thing. Oh my God! I think the worst thing of it all was when people see people homeless, they take advantage of them. They'll look for them. Homeless people. A lot of people that are mean people, little mean hearts. They look for it to. They look at homeless people as prey. And so we met a guy. He was not. He appeared to seem to be like he was supposed to be a Christian, a man of God, but he was into some other weird stuff. And yeah, so that was a bad experience. He seemed to be nice. Put us up in a nice hotel. Blah 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 blah. You know, took us to his. I don't even know if it was a house. I think it was more like a compound. I don't know, but I kept telling my husband, in my spirit, something don't feel right. And the women in this compound, I want to say a compound, because I think it was more than one house that they had joined together.
Yeah.
And you can enter. You know, they made it into one home.
Yeah.
So it was really. He was weird. It was really. That was one of the worst experiences.
A cult, like that's what it sounded like.
Yeah, it was very much a cult. Very much a cult. And I told my husband, I said, something don't feel right. When I told him, I said, watch the way he treat the women, because I noticed that he never wanted to talk to me. He avoided me. He just wanted to look at all my kids and my husband. And he was like, oh my God, I'm looking at your children. Man, you got prophets. You got evangelists. Not evangelism, listen. But he said, you got evangelists. You got prophets here. Oh my God. It's like he knew the giftings and the callings of each one of my children at the time. The ones that were older than you. And he took us and he fed us, and he wanted only the kids around him. All the women had to eat in the kitchen.
So wait, the kids and the men, but it wasn't the kids and the women.
No, it was the kids and the men would sit and eat together. The kids, you gotta tighten it up. The kids and the men will all eat together, but the women had to eat in the kitchen. I thought that was so weird. They would serve the men and serve the children, and he would have the children, after they would eat, all the children would sit around his feet.
Yeah, that sounded like
it was weird. It was really weird. It was really weird.
Okay, so what do you go from there? So you guys were homeless, and you go back to Philly? You live with your mom, or do you live with Daddy's parents at this time? Like I know
we went back and we moved in with my mother.
Okay.
Actually, we was going to move with my oldest sister, and my mom was not having it. My mother was like, nope. She's a blessing, and I'm not going to let you take the blessing from out of my house. Yeah. She's going to stay, because my mom's purpose was for me to help her take care of my dad. Okay. And so for the several years we were there for a while. I pretty much lived there until my dad passed away.
Okay, then that's when we moved to South Philly.
And then we moved to South Philly, that was horrible.
For me, it wasn't that horrible because I was a child.
See, this is one of the things.
Being older and thinking back on it, it was like, well, that was kind of, we were in a crazy situation.
See what I'm saying? When you are younger, you see things. Every family member have a different perspective of what family was like for them. And the younger ones are usually the naive ones. They just
we don't know. We just have
running
fun.
around and have fun.
Yeah, it's just our life. We don't know nothing else but our life is.
The older ones got to see things you don't see. And sometimes the older ones resent the younger ones because they feel we got to carry y'all the weight. Y'all just get to see things. But sometimes they think you see what they see and you not seeing what they seeing. So, but for me, it was hard because I just lost my dad, and I told my mom came to me, my mother-in-law, my grandmother-in-law, came to my husband and said, listen, your mother's house is empty. Won't y'all move in it? This was not an empty house that was livable. Okay. We didn't know how bad it was until we moved in. Okay. But my mom told me she wanted me to move out. She said, Marty, you've been here long enough. If you stay with me, you won't grow. I said, Mommy, I just lost Daddy. I can't leave you right now after losing Daddy. Daddy was only dead for 6 months. When my mother asked me to move on, she said, because if Mommy keep you here with her, you won't grow. And you need to move on. Go ahead and move into the house. I said, Mommy, don't make me go live there. Mommy, please, I don't want to live there. Because me and my husband's family, we didn't get along well. I loved my mother-in-law. But she didn't. The love wasn't reciprocated. But yeah, when I got to my mother-in-law's home, I had to do a lot of painting, cleaning. It was, when I say roach infested, it was roach infested to the point that they thought we were the invaders, okay? They thought we was coming. They thought we was coming in their house. It was horrible, y'all.
Yeah.
Listen, it was horrible. But then after we were there for like the first 2 weeks or so, we were there. My grandmother-in-law, she lived right directly across the street, and she came across and she said, listen, I already told the hospital that I'm going to bring my mother-in-law home. I'm going to bring my daughter home so y'all can help me take care of her instead of her being in, like
Yeah, so that's when y'all started taking care of Daddy's mom.
yeah, but when me just losing my dad, and I took care of my dad. I had to. My dad wasn't bedridden, but he stayed in the bed quite a bit. I had to help him out the bed, in the bed, wash my father. I wasn't ready to do that again.
Yeah, it was only a few months after he died.
It was only
You're
6
still
months.
grieving,
Yeah,
and they want
and
you
I
to try to
wasn't-
take care of another.
Yeah, and when she told me that, I want to say that I literally had a nervous breakdown, and I literally shut down, and I couldn't talk. I couldn't speak. I had to tell myself in my mind, Marty, talk. Marty, speak. If it wasn't for my oldest son, Shamar, he wasn't understanding why I wasn't responding to him. He kept saying, Mommy, 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 I'm talking to you. Mommy, I'm talking to you. And he just kept on talking. And I'm grateful that he kept trying to get me to talk to him. He didn't know that I wasn't talking because my mind was literally shutting down on me. I emotionally was having a nervous breakdown, and I was literally shutting down. And he kept talking, and all of a sudden I had to tell myself, speak, Marty, talk, 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 talk. And I forced words out. And my first words was, Shamar, thank you. Oh my God, I said, Shamar, for a minute there, I couldn't even talk to you. I had to tell my mind to talk. Tell my mind to talk. And Shamar was like, oh my God, Mommy, hug me, Mommy, you okay? And I said, just keep talking to me. Just keep talking to me. I just kept telling him to talk to me. And I thank God brought me through that.
I mean, yeah, you raising how many kids at the time? I think Jubilee was the baby, and you may or not have been pregnant, but
I wasn't pregnant
not
yet with Malachi yet.
Jubilee was
the baby. So here I got eight kids. I was raising.
And this is what, a 2-bedroom
just
house?
before we
was
moved.
like 2 bedrooms in the house.
This was a 2-bedroom house, and this was, the boys slept in the basement. The girls had the middle, the one room, and then their dad had the front room. Oh, I'm feeling God, y'all. And it was that experience was a really horrible experience, but that was the time when God,
like, you're grieving, you're raising 8 kids. And then they want you now to take care of your mother-in-law who's bedridden.
And I took care of my mother-in-law. I took care of her very well, even though she was scared, actually. She was really afraid of me.
Because she wasn't so nice to you?
Because she wasn't nice to me through the years. She thought I was going to mistreat her because she was bedridden. Mm-hmm. And so she was very, very scared. But I took care of her the same way I took care of my dad. I had to bathe her, wash her, change her diaper, everything, and had to put her in the lift, take her out the lift. But I eventually became pregnant, and about a month after she was home, I wound up pregnant with Malachi, and I took care of her up until I was 4 months pregnant. And then my husband was like, you're not taking care of her no more. I'm gonna step in and take care of her. So I took really good care of my mother-in-law, and I'm gonna tell y'all, I enjoy taking care of her. And one day, as I'm leaning over her and I was washing her, she looked at me and she said, Marty, God is gonna bless you. Thank you for the way you have taken care of me. She told me, she said, because I was really afraid that you was going to mistreat me. And it would be just for you to mistreat me because I was very mean to you. So my mother-in-law, she She told me that God was going to bless me, and she was the most. She was. I think she was happier than I ever seen her because I took good care of her. I fed her well, and she would sit. I would get her up and put her in her chair, and she would be sitting there. She, she was able to feed herself and everything. She just couldn't walk because she had MS, and she would feed, eat and be watching TV, and I would get her dressed. And Nana sometimes would cook food and bring her over, but sometimes I had food already prepared for her, but sometimes I wouldn't do it because I didn't want Nana to think that I was trying to do it all by myself.
Yeah. Okay. So South Philly, how do we end up moving to Maryland?
Military. We what's they call that? The
Dad
GI
was still in the
Bill?
military? Oh no, the
No,
GI Bill. Okay, that's how he
GI
bought the
Bill.
house through the GI Bill. Okay.
Because Daddy had what you call an honorable discharge, so he had an honorable discharge from the military, and he still was able to use his GI Bill, and we was able to purchase us a house in Maryland, and the reason he moved us back to Hartford to Maryland because he thought it would be better there than living in South Philly because South Philly was really not. It was horrible.
We was in the hood.
Yeah, we was in a straight hood, okay? We was
Didn't seem
in a
like
hood
hood to me growing up, but when I go
But
back
no.
there, like older, when I went back in that same area, I'm like, yeah, we was in the hood.
We was in a
Think about it now, I'm like, yeah, it was a little ratchet.
Yeah,
but,
we was in the hood, but I mean, it was. I had family that lived out there, so I didn't. To me, because around you, all you saw is drugs, constantly, gang, shooting, stabbing. So we was around a lot of that. So Daddy wanted something better for the kids. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're in Maryland. All right.
That's when where.
Yeah. I feel like everything kind of goes downhill at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, like before.
Our first 2 years was beautiful.
Oh yeah, the first 2 years in Maryland. How long were we only there for? 2 years.
We were there for 2 years before Daddy was killed. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I can't. So.
Okay.
So.
They trying to tell me to make sure I'm talking in the mic, y'all.
Not even that, you just keep turning, and then I'll be turning with her too, though. But I mean, because we're having a conversation, y'all just watching us talk at this point. Yeah. Whatever.
But I just want to interrupt y'all. Don't y'all think this is beautiful? That my baby girl is literally interviewing me about my life, right? And she's seeing it from more than just one perspective, Because sometimes children have a tendency to see it from their perspective, and the parents is just horrible. And then you got the parents may see it from just their perspective because they feel that the kids are just horrible because the
we
kids
just don't understand.
We don't understand, and so this allow us to see it from each other's perspective and not being judgmental, but being understanding.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because see, we have to be understanding so we can grow and be a stronger unit.
Yeah,
yeah. So I think, don't y'all think this is beautiful? I want y'all to give some shout outs to my doll. Really, when y'all watch this, please give her a lot of love, a lot of shout. Even put her. I'm gonna have her put her cash app up for y'all. I want y'all to sew into my baby girl, for her to put this all together. Her and Jube, but this cash app is just gonna help her to expand the broadcast and the podcast and and do something great with it. So y'all, Anyways, go ahead. You was asking 2 years of us being in Maryland.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know it was 2 years. I just remember. Yeah. When did we move there? I just know I think I was like 5 or 6.
Were you 5 and 6 when Daddy died?
I was about to be 9. Yeah. I was 8, about to be 9.
I was about to say you had to be older because Malachi was 3.
I was 8, about to be 9 when Daddy died. But I remember I was like 5 or 6. I was in kindergarten. I just know I was in kindergarten. But we moved in the middle of the year, or not? Was it the middle of the year?
We moved there,
or at the end.
I had Malachi's birthday.
You had Malachi in November. We moved that October, right? So we had moved right when that school year started. So I was in kindergarten when
we moved there.
So I went to pre-K in South Philly. I was in school in South Philly. I remember going to school.
Yeah, you went to Smith, wasn't that?
Was
Smith?
that pre-K or was that kindergarten?
That was pre-K.
Because I'm like that. I went to kindergarten in Philly. I mean in Maryland at Magnolia.
Yeah, you went to pre-K.
Okay, so that was pre-K.
David was in kindergarten.
Yeah, you're right. David was in kindergarten.
I'm feeling God,
in Philly.
I'm feeling God so. Anyways, go ahead.
Okay, so I didn't realize it was only 2 years. Yeah, it was about 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
So what's your question?
No, I just said I didn't realize it was 2 years. So we moved to Maryland. 2 years later, Daddy died. So then what's it like? What's everything that's going on at this point? Well, before we even touch on Daddy dying, what was it like before Daddy died? So what was life like before he died? Like how was he as a well, I mean, I guess I would say how he was as a father, but how was he like? What was life like at that time? What was going on?
Well, at that time, me and Daddy still was trying to, we didn't really allow y'all to see the disagreements that we had. So we always kept our personal life private from y'all.
Yeah, I'm saying I don't ever remember seeing you
Yeah,
guys
but y'all
argue.
always seen us together
Yeah,
and being friends and hugging and and
went to
all that.
church
A lot
every
of people
single
saw that.
Sunday.
A lot of
We
people in
had church
church saw
at
that.
home,
We
in
had church at
church.
home,
I feel
praying
like
at
all
home.
the time we was always just doing church stuff, reading the
We
Bible,
yeah,
praying, singing, like
always, always,
excuse me, all the
always.
time.
It was life with Daddy was everything was about God and everything was about church. But yeah, we had emotional struggles. I mean, Daddy grew up without a father, so that's why it was adamant for him. For him, it meant everything to be the best father he can be because he wanted to be a better dad to y'all than his father was to him.
Yeah,
So he was an amazing. When it came to a father, he was an amazing father. As a husband, he tried. He wanted to be a really good husband to me, and he tried, but
I also feel like at that time we didn't really understand. Well, you guys didn't really understand like the spiritual
no, we didn't.
warfare behind being married
No,
and being a Christian
yeah, and the
couple
attacks that
married. That
came
yeah, the
with
texts
it.
that come with being
Yeah,
a Christian
because
couple
after he
married.
died
A
is
Christian
now that I
married
am,
couple.
yeah. And after he died is when I begin to see all because now God is like, you got to break these things and break these things off of your kids. And this is where the door. And I'm like, God, only if I knew the things I know now, we would have been able to break some strongholds. And because God was giving me dreams and everything, and I wasn't understanding these dreams. He was clearly showing me in a dream. He was showing me in a dream how somebody had witchcraft for my husband, which was causing the division between me and him because there was a person who was jealous of my marriage and of him being a man of God, and they were doing witchcraft against my husband to bring division between me and him. And so I didn't know that, and I didn't know that that's what God was showing me in a dream because I was having a dream. God was showing me the person clearly in the
Yeah,
dream.
yeah,
And so I wasn't understanding. And even when I was in Hawaii, God showed me that this woman was coming in to tear up our marriage. And I didn't understand. I didn't understand these dreams, all
yeah.
these prophetic dreams that God was giving me and stuff. I was just still learning, I didn't understand. And if I understood, we probably would be still here together today. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of witchcraft in our
A
family.
lot of
So
witchcraft, yeah, but it was a lot of witchcraft done against our family as well. I mean, ooh, Jesus,
yeah,
that's a whole nother story, y'all.
yeah, because
Yeah,
we had a lot of spiritual encounters growing
yeah, a
up,
lot of warfare.
seeing things,
Y'all,
and
listen, even getting to
that's
this
gonna be for
point,
another like podcast. Talk about
yeah,
spiritual encounters
yeah,
and growing up.
y'all got the yes,
Shoot, because even as kids, I remember we would lay Bibles down all around the room because DJ is being attacked, like just crazy
yeah.
stuff, like
Y'all,
everybody
listen,
up.
y'all. That's what I'm saying. Y'all want to watch this. It's going to bless y'all. And it's going
Yeah,
to set y'all free because, I thank God for Dr. Francis Miles. We are learning a lot of
yeah,
different men and women, men of God and women of God. Katie Sousa, just teaching you how to warfare in the spirit, y'all. When God said the weapons of your warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds that we don't even understand. Like y'all, realms that are going on around us that is affecting us physically in our life we don't even understand, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all. So I thank God for Dr. Francis Miles. He's really teaching us a whole lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, before Daddy died, he was a minister.
Yeah.
He was I mean, from what I can remember, Daddy worked all the time. He was always
Always
working.
working and doing ministry.
Yeah,
We will
and
always do outreaches, community outreach. He was always a part of everything. His thing
having
was
Bible studies
he
in
had
the
a love for the
house.
youth. He
Yeah,
always was out trying to change other youth. I remember that time when he brought this homeless man home. Y'all remember that? I'm gonna let
I
Shamar
was
tell that
young.
story, y'all. Y'all gonna have to stay tuned and
Yeah,
let Shamar. But he brought a homeless man home and told Shamar to keep. He was working and he said, "Listen, I gotta." This man got into his car because Daddy was for extra money. He was doing taxi driving.
yeah,
And so to make extra money, he was doing taxi driving, and this guy got in his car and couldn't remember where he lived. As a matter of fact, it wasn't a homeless man. This guy couldn't remember where he lived. So my my husband had to find out where he lived. So he said, well, I got another pickup, and I can't take this man with me. So he dropped him off at the house, told Shamar to watch him until he got back from his other pickup. And so Shamar went and got a sword.
Yeah, Shamar has
Shamar
swords.
had
Yeah.
many swords.
Yeah.
He always had
I got chills.
samurai
It's cold,
swords.
though.
You got chills.
I got chills, but I'm also cold at the same time.
So
It's cold in
you
here.
want to put my jacket on?
No, I'm okay.
No, my other one.
No, that's okay.
You want to put the blanket on you?
No,
They
I'm
ain't gonna mind.
okay.
Y'all ain't gonna mind her putting the blanket
No,
on.
I don't.
So anywho, so Shamar had a sword, and he said, only thing I wish that your mom don't wake up. Thank God that I did. Cause if I would have woke up, I would have wilded out with some strange man in my house, and my oldest son is
He drunk on
watching.
top of that.
He
Some
drunk.
drunk
The man
man.
is drunk, sleep on our couch, and Shamar is sitting in the chair with a sword in his hand. If that man try anything, Shamar was gonna take that man out. And but I didn't hear about it until the next day, y'all. My husband told me about it. I was like, what? You bring a stranger in here with all your kids? He said, baby, they were fine. He was drunk. He was drunk anyway. But
Yeah.
so yeah, Daddy
was very
Daddy,
big in
remember
the
when he brought the
community.
girl home?
I
Y'all
don't
remember
remember
we
all of
felt
this
one
stuff. I
day
was
we were
young,
one day we
okay?
were
I was
riding on
little.
a highway. We were going to Rock Church. He wanted to visit Rock Church, that big church looked like it's sitting on the mountain somewhere. We went there to visit Rock Church, and it was nighttime. On our way coming back, my husband said to me, babe, we just passed a woman walking on a highway with a little girl, with a baby. I said, I ain't seen nobody. It was jet black on the highway. I said, I ain't seen nobody. He said, babe, there's a woman that is walking with a little baby. And so he backed up. Now, there was no cars around. And he backed up and he put this woman and this baby in our car. I'm going to tell you the kind of man my husband was. We didn't have like the worst. Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't have the worst of relationship, but the best of relationship. But we were very much for people.
Yeah.
We love people and we wanted to change people's lives.
Yeah, he was very much known in the community, in our school, because he worked in our
Yes,
school.
he worked in the school. He did tutoring in y'all school.
Yeah.
Everything, y'all. And but he picked that woman up and he took her home. And we found out her boyfriend took her from her house and dropped her off in the middle. She lived all the way in Virginia.
Dang.
Yeah, he took her from Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, and dropped her in the middle of Maryland in the middle of the night. And my husband took her, and we gave her a room, let her sleep over, and that morning we helped her get in contact with her family because she had nothing on her. So we was able to let her use the phone and everything.
Yeah.
And her family sent her money for a bus
Yeah.
ticket, and we sent her back home. And wow, right?
Yeah.
And I tell you, God has done a lot through our family. And but any other questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, okay. So yeah, that's Daddy was, very known in the community, very known in the church.
Yes,
he was heavy and all that,
Yes.
family man. And then he dies. How does Daddy die?
Daddy was murdered.
Okay, like the details. Daddy was murdered. Okay.
He was murdered by gang
Tell 'em what
initiation.
happened.
Oh
Okay.
my God, I don't even. I'm gonna tell y'all this year make 19 years. This December coming will be 19 years that my husband was murdered. 19 years. And on this 19th year, on the 19th day, I was washing laundry. And I'm the last. Now this wasn't my last load, but this was the last load I was going to do. I'm feeling God, y'all, and I just got to tell y'all when I'm feeling them, y'all. Right, y'all gotta feel it, cause I want y'all to feel it with me, right? So, anywho, and this was just this year, 2023. I'm washing the laundry, and I told you my husband was murdered by gang initiation. He just happened to be the cab driver that answered the call. And I begged him not to go to work that day, y'all. He did a double shift that day. And I said, baby, you already worked the shift this morning. Don't do tonight. Stay home. And I begged him. And he said, I know what you want. And he leaned over, gave me a kiss, and walked and then left. And that was the last time I saw my husband alive. And but it wasn't the last time I heard his voice. Because he came back in the house. He was going to call Brother Lave. And him and Brother Lave was going to start business together. And he picked up the phone, and I was on the phone talking to my niece, praying for her daughter. And he said, Marty, when you get off the phone, I want to use it. I said, okay. And I hurried, prayed with her, and I got off the phone. And that was the last time I heard his voice. And here I am. This happened just a few weeks ago, y'all. Was it 2 weeks ago? About 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so yeah, so that's how Daddy died, right?
That's
so
how
now,
Daddy died.
just a few weeks ago, what happened?
Just a few weeks ago. No, it was on the 19th.
July 19th would have been what?
It was on July the 19th.
2 weeks ago now?
On July the 19th, I'm doing laundry. And while I'm doing laundry, the washing machine knob
It breaks.
It literally protrudes and would not go back in. You know, the washing machines, you got to pull out and pull in, you know, and turn. Y'all know. And so all of a sudden, I go to start it up, and it was sticking out. And I said, why is it sitting out like this? I said, oh, my God, how the washing machine get broke? And I'm trying to push it back in. It wouldn't go in. I'm turning. I'm pushing. Nicole, she comes.
Yeah, I tried to push on it.
She even pushed her shoulder on it, her body against it.
I tried to pull it out.
We tried. It would not. Will it budge?
No, it wasn't.
That thing felt like it was stuck, didn't it? So because I already put detergent and everything into the washing machine, bleach, because it was white clothes, bleach, and put everything in there. I said, well, I have to take these to the laundromat, because if I didn't do that, I would just put them back in the dirty clothes, and I would have just waited for it to get fixed. But when God sets you up, let me tell y'all, when God sets y'all, excuse me, because we just ate before we got on here.
Yeah, burping. Excuse me.
When God ready to set stuff up for you and change things in your life, let me tell you, He's going to start working. Y'all got to pay attention to everything. Please pay attention. And God is a God of numbers. He's a God. He will set things up. That's why I tell my kids what I always tell y'all. God speak to you through
everything.
Hey,
pay attention to everything, because He speak through
Don't
everything.
excuse nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. He used everything to speak to you when He's ready to direct you, and He's about to change the directory of your whole life.
Okay, so what happens? So you go to the laundromat.
She wants me to stay because, you know,
she knew ranting off onto something else.
So anywho, let me tell y'all. And that's why I love my dough. My dough, she's really good at keeping me stay focused. Yeah. I was going to tell y'all no, sir, but I ain't. But anywho, where she had to, yeah. Anywho,
yes.
So I goes to the laundromat, and I goes to the first laundromat, and they want me to buy the card and then pay also for
your laundry.
They want $5 for the card. And then also pay for the laundry. I said, oh, you tripping. I said, wait a minute. There's another laundromat that Janae told me about. I went to the Food Lion. And I'm looking didn't know that the old bank was the laundromat. I'm looking for where the laundromat at. So I finally found the laundromat. One end, you just put the money in the machine and they give you coins to wash your clothes.
Old school style, yeah.
Yeah, old style. But please stay that way, y'all. If I own a laundromat,
the card is cool though, but you just
no, they want too much
charge
money.
you $5 for a card.
No, if
is ridiculous.
You're gonna charge me $5 for the card, that should be the first $5.
Exactly, it should be added on to your card.
Dang, going doggone on car should be free. Cost me no $5.
So you go to the laundromat.
Lord Jesus. Anyways, so here I am. Y'all know I don't go to the laundromat. Y'all, that's all. Y'all hear people that we used to spoil washing clothes at home. But anyways, I go to the laundromat, and when I get to the laundromat, I wash my clothes. But the Lord has been putting in my spirit to get another journal book, because I got several journals. I'm always writing, taking notes, writing this, writing that. And so I said, well, I need more books, because most of my books is practically all written in. So I said, well, let me go here to Dollar General. And I walks into the Dollar General, and I'm back there looking at pens and everything and books. I buy some new pens and buy a book. I'm so happy about it, because God's just been downloading things to me. And I'm like, I want to share, write down a lot of things. So anyway, Nicole, I'm getting there. I'm detailed, y'all. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm detailed. I like detail. I'm a detail person. I want to know.
Okay, so you get to the store. What happens at the store? So
when I get to the store, I walk to the cash register. When I walk to the cash register, this young lady says to me, I know you. She says, I know who you are. I said, you know who I am? She said, yes, I do. She said, your name is Miss Michelle Guess. I said, yes, that is my name. She said, and you know who I am. I said, no, I don't know you. She said, no, you do know me. I said, no, I don't know you. She says, I'm Wayne's sister. And I went, oh my God. See, I don't really remember him too much of Wayne. I only know him by his street name. So, but I knew who she was talking. I eventually caught on who she talking about, and I just said, "Oh my God!" And she ran from around the counter and began to hug
Who
me.
was Wayne?
Wayne Bond is the gentleman that went to jail for the death of Daddy.
Yeah, for murder.
So, so this is 19 years. So she says to me, "Don't you know they're letting him out?" She said, "Well, it's not actually they letting him out. They are transporting him to another state, and he's got to do a little bit more time there. But while he's doing it, so she said, but you would be glad to know that he got a certificate in
Yeah.
welding.
Yeah.
Yeah, she started telling me. I said, well, I'm so happy to
So he'll
hear
be
that.
transferring to another facility so
They
that
was
he
sa-
can continue learning
so he
and
can
getting
continue learning
certification in
because he
welding.
to do underground welding, to do underwater welding. So I'm like, whoa, that is so cool. I was telling her, and so she says to me, she says yes. She says so. She said now, and she said, you know what is so weird, Miss Michelle, because I just talked to him last night and here you walking in here, and I went wow, and I hugged her. She ran and we hugged each other, and she just said, but they're releasing him, not quite releasing him, but sending him to another facility so he can further his certificate. So I leave and I went to the jewelry store right on there and to buy some jewelry, and I'm feeling emotional and tears begin to fall, and I'm like, God, wow, whoa, right? It just like bringing back memories. And I'm like, wow, whoa. And I get into the laundromat and I sit back in the back. The ladies in there asking me, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm sitting there and tears just, just tears kind of just, I wasn't bawling, but tears just somewhat dropping down. And I don't know if I want to share with y'all one of the things that God said to me, but God spoke something to me concerning Wayne. And I told God, this is what I want to see concerning him. And I said, you know what? I started getting really, really emotional. And I got up from the back, left the laundromat, went back into the store, and I walked up to her and I said, listen, I need you to hug me. I need a hug. I need another hug from you. And when we hugged, I just started bawling, and I said, just hug me. She said, Miss Michelle, please, 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 Miss Michelle, please stop crying. Because she looked like she was pregnant. And she was like, no, Miss Michelle, please don't do this right now. Don't do this right now, Miss Michelle. And I said, I just need you to hold me right now. And we hugged each other. And then she said to me, she said, listen, you can reach, if you want to text him, you can. And she told me how I could reach him. She said, if you want to tell him, I said, because I want him to know that I want to see his success and I desire his success. And a lot of people would say, why would you do that after what he done to your family? Because whatever happened to my husband is not going to, if his life being ruined, it's not going to bring my husband's life back. And my husband's heart's desire was always to change the life of the youth. This boy was 17 years old, and he's been locked away for 19 years. And so I said, God, I want to see his life change. I want to see him to become an asset to his community and for his family. And I said, I desire his success. I do desire his success. So, and when God showed me, God spoke to me, he said, this is 19 years. He said, Marty, look at your phone. And I look at my phone, and I said, it was the 19th day. And I said, God, what are you speaking to me? So I don't quite yet, he told me that I'm eventually see what he means by the 1919.
Yeah.
Yeah, he told me he'll show me what that means. Yeah.
Okay, so daddy dies now. You're
Wow.
raising 9 kids alone. You've never
Alone.
had to pay a bill ever. You've never had to
No.
do anything. You've been a stay-at-home wife and mother
Yeah. Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
So what is that shift like of now
It
life
was
changing, everything shifted at this
it was
point?
horrible. I felt like I was living somebody else's life. I felt like my life was stolen from me, and it was. My life was stolen. But see, if you look at it like this, I didn't see it like that then, but I see it like that now. Everything I went through was necessary. I um I felt like somebody just took me and put me in a country with somebody speaking language that I didn't know how to speak. Because I had to learn the work world. I had to learn how to be a working mom and try to be a mom and deal with the emotion and the death of my husband, try to be strong for my kids. And I was just messing up one from one side to the other. I didn't know who to trust. I felt like I couldn't trust people because people was taking advantage of the fact that this woman just lost her husband. Uh, we're going to take advantage of her because, I went through a lot, so I didn't know who to trust. So I just pushed everybody away from me. Anybody that was close to me, I pushed them away because I didn't know who to trust because everybody had their own agenda. But being a mother of 9 children, you got 9 kids with different emotions, different characteristics. And then if they have friends or coworkers or anybody that, that they look up to, you got to deal with the characters of their friends and people or
Yeah, influencing them.
influencers that comes in and they want to tell them different than what you're teaching them, and your mother's wrong and your mother's this. So my kids would go along with them, and it made my job horrible, a nightmare. Notice you said my job. Raising kids is not a job. They're my family. They who I love. Loving my family is not a job. It is love. But raising my kids when their dad became a job for me. And my kids were like my employees, and they were. It was hard trying to get my employees to do things so we can keep a tight running machine. So it was hard. It was very, very hard. And all I could tell y'all this, if it wasn't for God, I would have been in Shepherd Pratt. I remember a spirit of depression. Literally, I felt the spirit of depression sneaking, like if it was trying to sneak up on me. I felt it, and I felt the Spirit of God literally snatch me out of the hands of the spirit of depression. I literally felt it. And God never allowed me to walk through depression. Sadness, yeah. Emotionally just done, yeah, but real depression, he didn't allow it. He kept me, he covered me. Almost did have a nervous breakdown at one point, and I thank God delivered me from that as well and brought me through that. So being a mother of 9 children, I thought that was the most worst thing that God could ever do to me, of taking my husband and leaving me to raise 9 children, which I had no clue. Like, what am I do with all these kids? And so it was hard. It was very much hard. Yeah.
Okay. So then what did you feel like was the best thing to do to help you with the situation that was going on? Like what was in your head, what were you thinking? Okay, this is what I have to do.
I didn't have a thought.
You didn't
I
have
felt
a
like I was
plan or
just,
anything. You
I
just figured out
felt
what
like
to
I was
do.
just existing and moving and trying to make decisions. You know what I'm gonna tell you what it felt like? I felt like a 3-year-old being forced to grow up and don't know how to be an adult. You know what I mean? When you had your husband taking care of you and your job was to take care of the house, the kids, and now you got to do everything. I felt lost.
You didn't even drive.
Nope. I know I didn't drive.
Yeah,
I
because
didn't.
Daddy drove everywhere.
Daddy
Like
drove
you
everywhere.
knew how.
I had to learn. I knew how to do a little bit of
Yeah, 'cause
driving.
remember
Daddy
you drove
taught
us
me a
to
little
school
bit.
or like to
He
little
taught me a
appointments
little
and
bit, but
stuff.
I had to get my license, and I had to get my license, and I had to do all of that. So
Are we
yeah.
good? Is the camera about to die? Okay, I thought you were like trying to tell us. Okay, as long as we're good.
So I got my license. 39 years old, I get my license, everything, and I'm gonna tell you, they were beautiful to me at the motor vehicle place. They helped me a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember like
The
everybody at school, because
Yeah.
like I said, Daddy was part of the school.
Daddy was
so
part of everybody. Yeah.
everybody
Daddy
in the
was
school
known.
were like helping and
Yeah.
like being supportive.
Yeah.
Everybody in the church.
Yep. The victim
Like-
services of Harford County. I have to give Victim Service Harford County a shout out. They were amazing. They literally was there. Senator Jacobs, when she was in office, awesome. She literally came in my house and literally was right there. I'm telling you, That was the most I needed. I thank God. I don't think if I would have made it without Senator Jacobs.
Yeah, I remember Christmas
Yeah.
time. I was little, so at the time,
I'm sorry,
I
y'all. A
remember a
lot of
lot
this
of
is
people.
emotional.
Yeah,
These are not sad tears. This is tears of gratitude, of the different people that played the part to help me in such a great tragedy that me and my
yeah, because this
family.
happened around Christmas time,
Yeah,
so it was really
it
hard
was
at that time.
hard.
Definitely, like
Yeah,
it was holiday
because I was a big
season.
Christmas person. Daddy
Yeah,
wasn't, but I love Christmas.
it
Daddy
was the
wasn't big
holiday
on Christmas.
season,
Yeah,
and but we had the community come together and help
yeah, the
us a lot.
community
We
did. They
had
did.
so many gifts that we was giving gifts away.
Yeah,
We
we went to the shelter
Yeah, we gave
and
a
we
lot of our
packed up.
stuff
We went to the
away.
shelter and gave a lot of the toys and stuff away to the
Yeah,
shelter. Yeah, we did.
I
Um,
remember just so you know, everyone that was helping out a lot during that
yeah, it was a
time.
lot.
But
It was beautiful. I think I want to. If I never thanked, just to say thank you to every person that played the part. All the sisters that came from, Moment of Truth Gospel Hour. Sister Bess. What was the Dawn and the mom name? I can't even remember her name. Lord
oh yeah, I
Jesus,
don't remember her
I
name
can't
either.
remember her name. But they all came into my home. They literally took my house over. Sister Cox. Pastor Cox's wife, Sister Cox, she came and she lived in Mississippi at the time. She flew in, and they were there. The saints came and they were there. And I want to say thank you to all of y'all for being there for me and my family at that time. Yeah. And the church, New Covenant, I thank God for Pastor Chris, the saints from New Covenant. They were right there, y'all. They were right there. And I want to say thank you to you all. Yes. Yeah. I'm
Okay,
grateful.
so with all that happened after Daddy died and struggles up and down, whatever the case may be, finances and everything like that, just all the crazy nonsense that
Yeah, it
happened
was a
after. We'll get
lot.
more into for
Yeah.
another podcast because we're already, I think, over an hour in, maybe, I don't know. But what advice would you give and to someone else who have experienced something similar to you, with like another widow, whether it's even if it's a man that has lost his wife or a woman who has lost her husband and she's raising a family on her own, like what advice would you give to them?
Well, the first thing I would say to get in the presence of God. Don't run away from God when things get rough or hard and you blame him because you don't understand. Even when my children's father had passed, I had all my kids. We were in prayer. While the Channel 2 and Channel Fox 45
Yeah,
was
I remember the
outdoor,
news all the time was
news was
around.
always at our door. Guess what? Me and my kids was on our face. Because Lord, we need you. We need you to show us what we're going to do because we don't know what to do. So I would say definitely go in the presence of God. Literally stay close to your pastors and, your saints. And if not, get into a good community church. And really, you need that network. You need that fellowship. And with me, I started not trusting people. I was seeing a lot of stuff. Y'all wouldn't go into it, but I seen a lot. And I started pushing people away. Because I could, maybe through a book I might share all of this in a book if God allow me, because some things God tells me not to share. But I would encourage you, definitely keep a community of people around you, people that you can trust. Sometimes strangers are the best because they have no
They're like unbiased.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're not biased, so they are more understanding and more comforting. Sometimes strangers. So I would say go get some counseling. I wish that I would have forced my kids. I didn't force them to go when it was offered. I asked them and they said no, and I asked them and they said no. So I just left them alone, and because I was constantly being asked by victim services, and they kept encouraging Michelle, y'all need to go seek counseling. Y'all need it. And I wish we would have. And this is what I believe this podcast is going to do mainly for our family after 19 years, to really unify our family and
Yeah.
where we can truly hear each other out. So I give God a shout out because God put this in Nicole's hands to do all this. And I thank God for her, that God is using her to bring the family together and unify the family. So I thank God for that. So one of the things I would definitely encourage you is to definitely go and get some counseling. It's don't hurt, and you don't always got to go to an actual therapist. Counseling can be you and your that best friend or that person getting you out the house and allowing you to talk and allowing you to cry and helping you to walk through it. And I think that's important. So any person, and and learning to forgive yourself,
Yeah.
learning to forgive others and whoever is involved. That's very much important because I had to um, forgiveness. Forgiving the young man who did what he did, and just forgiving. You have to be very forgiving and moving on so you can move, so you can heal. So I had to walk through a lot. But one of the things, so that's what I would really encourage other widows and just going to people. If you don't know how to do something, find somebody to go and ask questions and don't be like me and not trust people because I didn't. I didn't trust a lot of people. I pushed them away. Like I said, I seen too much. That's why, so I didn't know who to trust because they showed me one face and they was doing other faces behind my back. So I was. When you like the one, what's that one Instagram that said you don't mess with no Christians because they could discern. You
Oh
ever seen that?
yeah.
Yeah, and I was discerning things, and I was seeing too. And when I say seeing too much, I was
Yeah.
discerning, and I was seeing, and so I didn't know who to trust, and
Yeah.
so I pushed everybody away, even the church. I pushed them away, because I didn't know who to trust, and so here I'm left out here on my own, trying to survive, trying to make it. My kids, they just seeing at me as just complete failure. Mom, you just failed us, you just failed us. So that was a lot of pressure too. But sometimes we gotta allow our kids to have those emotions themselves too. That's not that what they're seeing is okay or is that's some. Y'all gotta learn how to work through that.
Yeah.
You gotta learn how to work through that. So that's what I would tell.
Because we all was going through it all together. But I feel
Yeah.
like that's where it kind of we all have to kind of come to that understanding of we all was going through it together.
Yeah, we would,
You know
but
what I'm saying?
sometimes we don't see that. We only
Yeah.
see my hurt. A lot of times we have
Yeah, we
a
only see
tendency to be
ourselves.
selfish,
Yeah.
and I was
And
too
feeling like
busy.
that we had expectations that weren't met.
Yeah,
Everyone has expectations that felt like were
yeah,
not met. So
and sometimes the unexpectations that are unmet, the expectations that are unmet is because I don't know how to meet them for you.
hmm
And I think you want me to give you something that I
that
can't give
couldn't
you.
right.
I didn't have it in me to give you, so um, you know, th- don't charge it to my heart. Charge it to the fact that I didn't know. I just didn't know.
hmm
If I had it in my heart, if I knew to do better, I would have done better. But I didn't know to do better, so I didn't give y'all better. And but there's no regrets or whatever. It's just the fact that I just wasn't there.
Yeah.
So, and I need the parents too, the widows, the widowers, forgive yourself. Move on. Don't allow your children to put you in some kind of cage and bondage because of your mishaps or your mistakes that you did yesteryear, or you didn't do the right things or whatever. You don't let that in. And you being a widow, move on, live, go and live and enjoy life. I mourned and moved. That's what I did.
Yeah.
I mourned and moved. Even though when you say move, what was you doing? I just did whatever I could find my hands to do. We started our first business.
Oh yeah.
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 We started our first business. We had
Yeah.
our restaurant, family restaurant that we started. We actually had two restaurants. We started with a bakery, and then we ended up in Hamden,
Yeah.
Maryland. First black-owned business in Hamden, Maryland. And
So yeah. So it'd be
yeah.
get your
So
community, stay focused on God,
yeah, stay focused on
prayed up.
yeah.
Yeah.
So she have to take me back,
Yeah.
because
Because you start veering off.
yeah, I know.
Stay prayed up.
So yeah, stay
And
prayed up and really stay connected to people. Stay
yeah.
connected. Find people you can trust. You know what I mean?
And it ain't gonna be
And ask a
easy.
bunch of questions.
It's not
Now,
easy.
for y'all moms, let me share this. Y'all moms that been homemakers and y'all become, you know, a widower. Talk to the real estate people. You go to the bank, start asking questions about the house and the equity and anything.
I mean, it's so much more now, and things are so much more different now than it was then. 20
Yeah,
years
but still,
ago,
you
we
don't
didn't
know.
have
Yeah.
the easy everything
Yeah, but I
online
would
like it
tell
was
you,
back then.
I would tell you,
but-
talk to your bankers, talk to your mortgage company, you talk to every person you could talk to and ask all questions.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let no question make you feel like you dumb. And don't let the enemy make you feel, oh, you don't need nobody. No, we need each other.
Mm-hmm.
See, because I was feeling like I don't need nobody. And because I was too busy trying to protect myself, I didn't know who to trust. That's all. I was trying to protect
Okay,
myself.
we want to end on that note. Don't let the enemy feel like you can't trust nobody because we need each
Well,
other.
no, I do want to share one more
Okay.
thing. One more thing. This is
We
one of
over
the
our time.
things. One of the things that God shared with me was this. He reminded me of some words that he gave me. We're going to end on this, y'all.
Okay.
One of the things God brought to my attention one day, and this was just before I ran into Wayne's sister. God said to me, he reminded me of a word he spoke to me years ago. One of the words was love people in spite of themselves. The other word that God spoke to me was this, that you're going to go through a lot. You're going to go through a lot. He said, but I want you to know I'm going to deliver you every time. And he reminded me of those words. And then I was reminded of a statement that, what's her name? Fantasia. Is it Fantasia?
Mm-hmm.
When y'all know when she was in the hospital and all the nervous breakdown stuff she went through. And one of the things she said that what she walked through was necessary for her to become the woman of God she is today, to become the mother she is today, to become the wife she is today, become the singer who she is today, to become the woman of God. So it was necessary for me to walk through all the pain I walked through, all the misunderstandings, all the whatever, and learning to grow, learning to give people space, to make changes. I had to learn to not judge people because they don't do things or said
Yeah,
things.
give
or,
people grace.
Yeah,
You have to give each other grace.
I remember when we first moved to this one city. I don't want to name the city because I don't want to offend nobody. We moved to this one place.
I mean, people know we lived in Baltimore.
The people there were different.
Yeah, to us because we were used to
and it was
Harford
different.
County,
And so
Philadelphia.
when I said to God one day, I said, I was sweeping my porch and I said, God, why are these women like this? He said, because this is all they know. And because he said it, it caused me not to pass judgment on them because they were different than me. And another thing, and this is we ending. My daughter said this to me, Mommy. I said, why are people not doing this and doing that? She said, because Mommy, everybody don't think like you think, and everybody is not you. And when she said that, I had to sit back and go, you're right. And I had to learn to give people space and give them and be patient and give them room to learn them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And be and still stay connected to them. You know what I mean? And helping them to find them, and not being so quick to throw them in the trash can because I was one of them. I would throw you in the trash can real quick.
I work on that too because I'm just really.
Yeah, I'm going over there. So anyway, y'all, we want to thank y'all for tuning into
and watching.
Yeah.
We'll be on YouTube. We'll be on every social media site. I'll share everything on there, but follow us on Guest Talk Podcast on Instagram, Guest Talk Podcast on YouTube. Yeah, so we're on all of those platforms.
Yeah.
I'll even be on TikTok too. The Guest Talk, I think it's just Guest Talk Podcast on TikTok.
Yeah,
everything is Guest Talk Podcast.
Twitter, because you can also put.
It'll be on. We'll have Twitter. We'll have
Rumble.
Oh, yep, Rumble. I forgot about Rumble. Threads and all of those.
Yes.
Riverside FM. I'm gonna upload on every platform.
So y'all get to see it.
You guys can watch and listen in. If you're not watching,
and
you just using Anchor
or
Spotify or Apple Podcasts, whatever. It's going to be on every platform. So definitely subscribe, connect, like, share the video.
Yeah, please,
comment,
y'all.
Add y'all 2 cents into the comments. We don't care, good or bad, whatever you feel. Add your comments.
Yeah, and we're gonna try to address a lot of y'all comments. So please send some in because y'all might want some questions. Y'all might want to ask us.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. Thank you. See you guys.
Bye.